Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing a video talking to you about this silencer here. This is another one that I got from Silencer Shop. It is the Griffin Optimus. For those of you who know what you're looking at, you can tell this is not the Optimus Micro. It's just a regular Optimus that's been out for a couple years now. Been shooting it a ton on handguns. Easily have about 600 rounds with subsonic 9mm ammo across this AREX Rec 01 Tactical that you see here in front of me. 2 Glock 19s, a Glock 34, a SIG P226. Hopefully you can hear me over the people shooting around me. I just kind of got to make do with what I got here at the range. I'm going to go ahead and dump some rounds through this AREX Rec 01 Tactical with it attached, and then I want to show you something that makes this thing a little bit neater, so to speak, than some of the other silencers you've seen on my channel. So let's go ahead and just dump some rounds with this one real quick. Okay, so I'm gonna hopefully this thing didn't get too hot, so I can just transition straight into it and maybe leave the camera running so you can see just how easy the process is. So thankfully it's not too hot. This is why I try to come on members only days. So what I'm going to do is take this little tool here and take off this inner cap right here on the silencer. So see if I can do it with just this guy. Take out the booster attachment that comes with the silencer. Take out the booster. Now I'm going to thread on this 5/8 by 28. Is that what that is? Whatever the 308 thread pitch is that's escaping me at the moment. Thread this thing on. Get it finger tight. Give it a little cinch with this tool. And now what I can do is thread this onto my 300 blackout upper using a direct thread now. Now I can shoot either supersonic or subsonic 300 blackout through this can by just changing the muzzle adapter. So let me go ahead and get a mag loaded up of subsonic 300 blackout and we'll see how it runs in this upper. Alright, so I have some 150 grain hand loads that are subsonic through this 300 blackout upper, which I have a build series on if you guys haven't seen it already, and my Form 1 SBR lower, which the main difference recently is this Strike Industries PDW stock. Let's see how this thing runs. Alright, not too shabby. So now I got it swapped over to 5.56 upper, and let's see if it wants to run like this. So definitely loud considering this is a 10.3 inch barrel. You throw this onto a 16, 18, 20 inch barrel and you're gonna not be dealing with as much there, but that's one of the side effects of shooting suppressed on a shorter barrel. So while I let this thing cool so I can take this end cap off, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you a little bit about this silencer, some of the specifics about it, some of the things that sets it apart from some of the other options on the market right now. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you saw it on 9mm. I've shot it a ton on 9mm across a bunch of different guns. Mostly that Rec 01 Tactical, which has been functioning great. It's been functioning 100%. All of those handguns, the included booster that comes from it, cycling no problem whatsoever with any of those threaded barrels. And as you saw too, I was able to shoot it on 300 blackout and 5.56 just by changing this end cap out here. Now the cool thing is they actually supply you with an extra booster and this little extension here. What these two together do is allow you to shoot all the way up to 300 Win Mag. So pretty much anytime you go over the 5.56, you're gonna wanna start using this stuff, and that's what Griffin Armament is gonna tell you. So all you have to do is take this end cap off entirely, and then drop this extra baffle down inside, and then thread the end cap on. Now, because I have a feeling this video is already going to be long without me demonstrating all that, what I'm going to do is refer you to a video that Curtis over at BSO Gun Channel did, where he laid out all the different things you can set that thing up as, and how you change out the filters, and how all that works. It's like a 15-minute video, so seeing him do that, that makes me know that if I were to add those 15 minutes to this video, it would be exceptionally long, and he did a good job laying it out, so I'm just going to refer you to him if you want to see more about that. I'm just going to talk about my opinions on this and not necessarily go into the nitty-gritty details. But speaking of nitty-gritty details, that's one thing I'm going to avoid going too far in depth with, but what I'm going to do is take a side of the screen here to lay out some of the specs on this thing. But again, because it's so universal and because you can add on this extra end cap, there's a lot of numbers that are very dependent on how you have it configured. So I'm going to have some of the general stuff on this side of this screen, but again, what I'm going to refer you to is the product page for this, where they're going to lay out weights, lengths, and all that stuff depending on how you have it configured. Because again, if I were to have all that stuff listed here, it would take up several title screens, and that's just not something I want to really do right now. But what I will do is put down here at the bottom of the screen all the different calibers that this thing is rated for, at least according to Griffin Armament. Like again, everything down from to 17 HMR and all the way up to 300 Win Mag. This is going to be pretty much as universal gets. Now normally, there is definitely a cost increase that it's associated with those universal silencers because you're getting so much stuff with it. Now, that does apply to this. However, at least as of the time filming this video, this thing is currently on sale from Silencer Shop for $899, which is insane for a universal silencer like this. It's like a $200 discount, which basically means a $200 tax stamp. Well, you're basically getting a free tax stamp, which is a really, really cool thing right now. And again, totally subject to change. I don't know how long that sale is going to last. So all the more reason to subscribe to my channel if you're not already, because this information's current, and I can't guarantee that by the time you watch this video that sale is still going to be going on. So I'm sorry. One thing I forgot to mention just now looking at it is it does also ship with a 30 caliber or 9mm end cap, and then a 22 caliber end cap. So if you are just shooting it on 5.56 or 22, 17 HMR or anything like that, you can replace the end cap. That's going to help kind of with that gas seal a little bit, help make it a little bit quieter. And then anything else, you have that 30 caliber end cap, and you're going to be able to rock and roll with that, and again, keep it optimized for the caliber you're shooting. Now the cool thing is, you don't need all these fancy tools. They do send some tools with you that you are going to need, but everything is going to be supplied. You have this little kind of soft plastic block here that'll help get on this end cap. You have this right here, but if you look carefully at this, you'll notice that this thing is actually shaped like an AR armorer's wrench. So if you have an armorer's wrench, you can just use that also. So that's a really cool thing. And then, in order to take your end cap off, you actually just use your little booster adapter here. Try to keep that by my face so it's in focus. That'll actually match up with your end caps right here, so you can actually unthread your end caps that way. So Griffin Armament definitely did their due diligence in making this thing super user-friendly. Along with that, this is totally end-user serviceable. You can totally break this thing down, take all your baffles, and you're ready to rock and roll, clean it out, do whatever program you like to do to clean the carbon out of your silencers. So again, just a really, really cool thing that this thing can do. Now, since I mentioned that, I do want to mention something that I learned the hard way while reviewing the silencer. The first outing I did with this thing, my friend and I came out and we shot about 600 rounds of subsonic 9mm through this silencer configured with the booster from the factory, and we also shot it on an AR9 with the fixed barrel spacer. After that, I went to SHOT Show for a week, and this thing just kind of sat. And what happened was, this thing basically got all locked up with carbon. So I took the end cap off, I tried to drop in the extra booster, or the extra baffle here, to put this thing up to 308, and I actually physically couldn't get this in because the carbon buildup was so bad. And when I totally disassembled the end cap too, I couldn't get the other baffles in there because it was so locked in with crud. Now, that's not the end of the world. You can still get in there. What was recommended to me is just take one of those like shotgun bristle brushes and spray a bunch of CLP in there, or whatever your favorite cleaning agent is, and just kind of turn that thing on and take off all that buildup. So that works, and I'm sure will work once I get home and do that. But just letting you know, probably clean it fairly often if you plan on being able to use this across a bunch of different guns, because they set you up to be able to clean it. You might as well, you know, clean it. Now at this point I've been yapping long enough, so I'm going to throw in some more footage of me shooting this, and then I'll just kind of give you some more of my overall opinions and my recommendations with this silencer. So in case I didn't mention it earlier, I think one of the things that really sets us apart from other, say, 9mm cans on the market is, well, yes, there are some 9mm cans that will work with subsonic 300 blackout. I don't know of any that'll work with supersonic 300 blackout, let alone 5.56 all the way up to 300 Win Mag. So this thing is, again, much more of a universal silencer than any of those options. So again, something to keep in mind if you're looking for one can to do them all, so to speak. This is not the only one on the market that will do everything. There's a lot of companies now that are starting to make those universal silencers, so definitely keep an eye out if you're just looking for something like that. Although that said, I've been really happy with this thing. It has all the features that I would want, and the nice thing with something like Griffin Armament is there's a lot of their aftermarket support for it. So if you want tri-leg adapters, they have tri-leg adapters. If you want, you know, the booster, it comes with that. If you want fixed barrel spacers, I believe they have that. Attachment to muzzle brakes and all that stuff, the taper mounts. Griffin Armament has all those things already ready to go. And again, right now, subject to change, but $899 for a universal can like this, that's going to be really, really hard to beat. Now, I was actually talking to a gentleman out here earlier. He's actually one of the board members for the range that I'm out here with, and he was asking me questions about this silencer. I was telling him that, because one of the things he mentioned was he's really only looking to suppress something like a 22 and maybe a 9mm, and I'm going to say, in my personal opinion, if you're looking for something that you're really going to shoot mostly on, say, a 22 long rifle, I don't know if this is the cane you're going to want, because it is going to be a little bit heavier than a lot of those dedicated 22 long rifle silencers. That's just the byproduct of it being rated for those heavier rifle cartridges. That said, if you have a 22 and you're also going to be shooting on a 9mm, 308, 5.56, anything else, then yeah, this is an awesome silencer for that. But if you're just going to keep it to those like rimfire cartridges, I think you'd be happier, and you're going to deal with less like things like point of impact shift or anything like that, if you get something that's really made for that. And I've done reviews on stuff like that before. Griffin Armament has stuff like that, to possibly include their Optimus Micro, which hopefully I'll be doing a review of in the near future. Basically, think of all the modularity of this one and just a smaller package. Now, one thing I want to mention is all the rifle shooting I've been doing with this thing is with just the main body itself. I haven't used that extension piece at all. I'm assuming, and I think this is a safe assumption, that if you were to use that extension with that extra baffle on a 300 blackout like this one, or a 5.56 rifle, you're probably going to be looking at a little bit quieter because you have an extra baffle and a lot more internal volume. But that said, it does function just fine. Shooting subsonic 300 blackout, we are more than hearing safe. The only reason I have ears on is because of other people using this range, and then the people behind me cranking away with whatever it is he's shooting. I'm assuming it's some AR-15 because he's shooting long strings of fire. Anyway, without that, still hearing safe. If you're shooting it on like the 10.3 5.56 up there, just like this, you may still want to use hearing protection because it's probably going to be just across that borderline into not hearing safe. But if you put it onto a longer barrel, like a 14.5, 16 inch or longer, it will most likely be hearing safe. It's just 5.56 out of those short barrels. You're dealing with a lot of unburned gas and a lot more noise. So just something to keep in mind, something to take into consideration. I gotta say though, I mean, overall, I'm a really big fan of this silencer. It's great on handguns. Again, between the Glock 19s that I shot it on, the SIGs, the Rec 01 Tactical, awesome suppressor for that. And again, like I said, 100% reliability. Even with those 158 grain full metal jacket loads from Fiocchi, and then just your regular 115 grain 9mm. I even ran it in my Glock 19, my carry Glock 19, which now has a Faxon Firearms threaded barrel. I even ran my carry ammo, which is 150 grain Federal HSTs, ran just fine through this can and was nice and quiet through this can. So that was a nice thing for me because if you guys don't know, those 150 grain HSTs are kind of inherently subsonic just because of the weight of the bullet and how much powder you can get in there. So that was a really nice thing to see with this can also. And I gotta say too, one thing is I think the longevity of these cans is gonna be excellent, considering I myself have put probably close to 1,000 rounds through this, between mostly in the 9mm, and then now today through a bunch of 300 blackout and a bunch of 5.56. This thing is holding up great, and I could tell when I got this from Silencer Shop that it had been heavily used before that. So I have no question that this thing will last your lifetime, if not the lifetime of your kids that you hand it down to. Alright. Oh, God damn it. This guy behind me is driving me crazy with whatever it is he's shooting. He's just mag after mag, just long strings of fire. Don't know what he's doing, but I hope he's having a good time. Anyway, all that said now, I want to go ahead and kind of wrap up my thoughts about this silencer. Again, if you're looking for something that's going to be universal, that you can use across a bunch of different calibers, this is probably going to be the choice for you. Again, there are other options on the market, but this is definitely one of the good ones. Again, I really want to thank Silencer Shop for supplying this silencer for me. I actually had a chance to talk to Jeremy from Silencer Shop while I was down at SHOT Show in Las Vegas. So be looking out for that video coming out soon. I always say in these videos that Silencer Shop has the easiest process for purchasing NFA items like silencers or SBRs. So what I wanted to do while I was down there with Jeremy is do a video where he explains how that process really works, just so you guys can hear from the horse's mouth how easy it is to buy a silencer if you're going through Silencer Shop. So again, be looking out for that video. Once it is up, I'll have it linked below. But again, just a really good option here. Is it the lightest silencer on the market, especially when compared to like the 22 calibers? No. It's, I mean, right in line with those other rifle cans or 9mm cans or anything like that. So definitely not too super crazy heavy or anything like that in comparison to those. But only when you're talking about the rimfire cans is it a little bit heavier. But again, this isn't the only one out there, but when you consider the modularity of this one, the aftermarket support that Griffin Armament has, how easy it is to service using very minimal tools and tools that you probably already have, and the ones you don't already have are included. So just a really great option. I'm enjoying it shooting it on this 300 blackout. It's been a great suppressor for the 9mm, and you're going to see it a lot in the Rec 01 Tactical video. But I think this video has been going on long enough. So as always, I hope you're able to get something out of this video, and I really appreciate you watching. Even with those 158 grain subs from Fiocchi, when you're looking at rifle cans or 9mm cans or anything like that. It's right in line with, God, this mother behind me, I swear to God. It's right in line with what you can expect in comparison to some of those other options. But again, when it comes to universal cans, you know, this is just one of those great options, especially considering how modular it is for being able to put onto a bunch of different rifles to include tri-lug mounts. It's, I mean, right in line with those other rifle cans.